Morning, sports fans. Well, how's everyone's pre-Christmas going? I just had my Sunday morning breakfast with my brothers and my dad, except one of my brothers is in Connecticut. And then I came down here. My dad's out in the shop working on a project of his. And I'm here checking out knives, inspecting knives. I'm telling you guys, this knife right here is super sick. Hey Dominic, Merry Christmas. Look at this Praetorian tie with flame blue hardware brushed satin blade. It's got blue hardware on this side. It's pretty sick. Hey Pops, what are you up to? You done?
I gotta go get my drill. I drill out those new ribs.
Drill out the ribs, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I'm here doing a Facebook video.
Some lazy. Oh, you're drilling. Okay.
So, we're closed Monday and Tuesday, so I thought I could maybe get just a little bit ahead, which is what I'm working on right now. Hey Kevin, hey Joseph. You know, the hardest part of teaching guys how to make knives is how to have the right feel. You know, you want them to have this lovely hydraulic action that's real smooth and consistent. It's hard to impart that to guys. Every knife's got its own little nuances, every model, and then within that model, the different runs have some very subtle nuances. I have guys say to me all the time, they go, "God, your knives all feel the same, they sound the same." And I'm going for that, but I always feel like I'm failing at it. I always feel like I'm working on it, and it's kind of a work in progress. So like this one's a kitten hair stiff. But its action is so beautiful that I wouldn't want to mess with it because the surfaces of those bronze, phosphor bronze, now to you guys they'll look like washers, but they're actually called bearings because they're thrust bearings. And a thrust bearing, there's a couple different kinds of thrust bearings, but one kind of thrust bearing looks just like a washer, except it's made out of bronze, brass, copper, phosphor bronze. Or not copper, but some alloy with brass, bronze, or something that's infused with Teflon or oil. We use bronze. Hey Kevin, I love the USMC Fighter too, man. And I've got my Guadalcanal First Mardiv shirt on. Oh, that 187 is just awesome. You know, I guess because you know everyone's always trying to try and define everybody, and they say, yeah, when I walk the show, your stuff looks a little different than everybody else's. And I think it's because it's got so much hand personality in it. You know, every knife that we lay hands on, you know, I've constantly worked with the guys on, hey, listen, feel this. So I'll get them around in a circle. I'm like, hey, feel these knives. Pick out the ones that feel like they're the stray gazelle. Guten Tag, Wolfgang, wie geht's? Ja, es geht. Es geht gut. I'm looking for this kind of I want it to feel like it's a hydraulic actuation. It's lovely. Somebody told me your knives have a lovely hydraulic feel. I don't know who said it to me. They said it to me some time ago, and I had never heard that before. And I was like, yeah, that is the feel I like. I like it like it's a hydraulic actuator on like a really nice car. And then there's a sound that I want. And there's a kind of perfect engagement, click and snap that I really like. And I like the break and release. I mean, if you had any idea, how hard it is to get everybody's hands and ears to kind of tune together. So sometimes I'll say, hey guys, we got to do a knife review. And I'll get a box out and I go, this is a lovely box of knives. Let's run through them and listen to them. And I open them all. And I'll say, close your eyes. And I say, raise your hand when something sounds funny. And I'll mix in a weird one, or I have one kind of planned, and I open it. And they go, oh, I go, listen for that, you know? So there's just a lot of subtle craftsmanship that's trying to be imparted here. And it's really hard, and it's really personal, and the feedback is tough. You know, some things happened in America, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but we seem like maybe there's a zeitgeist of everybody wanting to be a star, and here I am doing a video, this is to market my business. This is to connect with my customers and let you know what goes on behind the scenes. But maybe everybody is so craving and craven of attention that we seem to want to be involved in grandiose things. And I tell people all the time, your first day making knives will be like your last day making knives. You're going to struggle with swing, lock-up, sound, engagement, wiggle, play, rock, marring, scratching, and time. And the problem is, if you want... The truth is, most of us don't do anything grand, myself included. Nobody does anything grand. Almost nobody. At the end, we're all bubbling in our own shit by ourselves, most likely in a bed somewhere, and we fade off the mortal coil. And we find out, in retrospect, I think a lot of times, that we didn't feel like we really did anything spectacular. Almost nobody does anything spectacular. And for me, that's not a bummer. That's comforting this Christmas, this end of the year. It's okay for us to just be humans and be here. It's what Richard Bach was talking about in Jonathan Livingston Seagull. It's okay to just revel in doing loops. There doesn't need to be a rhyme and reason or purpose to it all. We don't need some allegory and some promise of the Christ figure waiting for us. At least I don't. I'm comforted by the fact that I'll die in a puddle of my own shit alone. I'm okay with that. And that the best thing I ever did is probably my kids. And that nobody will ever remember me after this first generation of people that knew me is gone. I'm okay. I'm actually comforted by that. Because there's no escaping that unless you're fucking Alexander the Great, George Washington, or Genghis Khan. People remember you for a little while and then you're gone. So as my year wraps up and I'm thinking about, this co-opting of Sol Invictus's birthday for the baby Jesus, and the crashing together of cultures to celebrate the changing of the seasons, and the closure of the year, and the cycles of human life, I'm comforted by the fact that I'll die alone and my time is finite and that it ends. I'm comforted in the fact that the best thing I'll probably ever do is my family. So I try to dedicate as much as I can towards them. I'm comforted in the fact that any little memory of me, people will say this or that. He was a prick, he was unrelenting, he was a loudmouth, he was a know-it-all, he was an asshole. Fucking dude worked hard and loved his family. That's enough. I'm okay with that. And these knives are like a little microcosm of that. You lay hands on these knives. I lay hands on knives every day. It's a kind of, guys say to me all the time, hey boss, I'm really, I talk to people all the time. You are the hero of your own story. Respect. Spasiba. I talk to people all the time and they want something big for themselves. And my counsel to them is, well, look, if something big is waiting for you, awesome. But it's absolutely the hero's journey to not have anything big for you going on and to just kind of live life and be happy. And the thing about craftsmanship, the only thing that'll happen is in 100 or 2 years, I think some of my knives might still be around if humans are still chugging away. So the only thing I can do is leave craftsmanship behind. I leave the craft of my children, and Amy's a huge part of that. And we all do. We leave the craft of how well do we balance the personal, the public, the private, the discipline and the love. How do we balance that with our kids and let that percolate into the future, into the village? And then we leave our craftsmanship behind. It's why I love old things. It's why I love old stories. These knives are like that. They're this little personal journey that you go on. And the guys come to me, they apply for jobs. And why'd you leave this job? Why'd you leave that job? Why'd you leave this job? Why'd you leave that job? And they got 10 jobs or 15 jobs they've left. And I said, man, you don't have a job problem. You have a deciding what you want to do problem. And they still don't know what they want to do. And everyone thinks because mommy's told them how great they are, that there's some big fucking future waiting for them. And I tell them there's no big future waiting for any of us. And they go, well, look at what you do. I go, my life is one big knife inspection, counseling session, trying to convince someone why it's okay to come to work every day and not be at home sucking their thumb. Explaining why a knife costs $700. My life is very, very repetitive, just like everybody else's. There's no big special gig to this. And I'm comforted by the cycling of the seasons. I'm comforted by Christmas coming. I'm comforted by the cycle of life. I'm comforted by a really yummy knife. I'm comforted when I feel one of these knives that has this hydraulic feel and a consistent swing and this lockup and this sound and this look and this symmetry. I'm kind of comforted by my guys have really put their heart into it, and it actually, like, I get in a good mood. It's like a lot of times I shoot these videos while I'm inspecting because I get in a good mood, and boy, when they're bad, boy, I get in a dark mood. But when they're good, it's lovely to see somebody who did this. This is my brother Adam built this knife. And it's just got this lovely feel and sound to it. There's no play in any direction. And I just know one of you out there is going to have this knife in your hands. And you're going to open it up and you're going to kind of be like it's Christmas morning when you were back when you were a little kid. And for me, I find comfort in all of those little things like that. So people say all the time, what separates us from the monkeys? You know, I think what separates us is that we're adaptable. More adaptive than any species on Earth. People say, Greg, what makes your knives so expensive? And it's how much human goes into each one. It's just a trade. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to give something a look and feel that's so good and consistent and yummy. That's really hard to do. And as that process of someone's craftsmanship comes along, it involves personal critique. It's not so much of modern industry and commerce is basically you filling the spot of a robot, of what a robot's going to do and take over. I'm not worried about that with knives. These have too much human in them. Robots aren't good enough yet. And I can feel the struggle of getting it right. So I know it seems kind of corny and maybe I'm being histrionic and emotive and all sensitive, but I love like an amazing jacket that when I don't know if you've ever put on like a really expensive jacket, you're like, oh my God, this thing is awesome. Or you've got a really expensive top of the line thing, or you get your first ride in a Lamborghini and you go, oh my God. Or you look at, you get your ride in the first high performance aircraft, or you get on your first Ducati racing bike and take it for a spin. It's jarring. Because once you do it, you look at the rest of life experience and go, well, I want this level of satisfaction from everything, and anything other than this is a cheap experience. And since we are going to die inevitably soon, like a book falling off a shelf, in a puddle of our own shit alone to face the maker, I want every moment rich and savory while I'm here. So maybe this is what my perfectionistic bent on making knives is all about. Maybe each knife is a little tiny journey in trying to find a great experience. And you know what, guys? I don't get it right all the time. We don't get it right. We are human and fallible. But boy, it's what we're going for. So look at this note. This is a personal note from me to the maker. It says, I think it's kind of reversed right now, but it says, lash all over, bad swing. This knife would have passed At any high-end knife show in America, it would have passed the muster. And now it's spectacular. The lash is gone. The swing is lovely and consistent. And now it passes mine. Let's check the rest of it. Just sense, man, that hurts. It's hard. I love taking, right now I'm working on a box of fails. I've been through 3 boxes of knives today, so about 100 knives. Thanks, Gary. I've been through about 100 knives, and I've got about 18 fails. And I'm going to take the box of fails, like this one I just caught. It's got the tiniest little kitten hair lash at the top. A perfectly good knife. Locks well, breaks, swings well, no play in any direction, but when I'm just off the break, it's got side lash. So I'll take this box of 19 fails and I'll get with the guys and we're gonna have like a major learning session. You know, like turn every one of these fails into a learning moment as much as possible. It's super important to do that so that we're passing on that knowledge. Anyways, I will let you guys get back to crazy politics and memes and Merry Christmas stuff on Facebook and wherever. I'm going to hop off the phone here with another fail. Bottom lash that is so subtle that most humans would never notice it. But I got hands like radars for little things. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you guys could think about maybe endorsing a regular life, embracing a regular life. And at the end of the day, you can make a bunch of money maybe sitting at a computer terminal or doing some job that you think is really important for some .com or some startup company or some app. And remember how fleeting and ephemeral all that stuff is. The making of good stuff, it leaves a ripple in the pond that goes on affecting people for a long time in a positive way. You know, making awesome stuff is kind of it's the creation act, right? It's what the book of Genesis is all about. Making stuff allows you to touch on the creation act a little bit. Ask guys that are in construction how much they like building buildings and homes and bridges and, you know, almost to a man they'll tell you, I like creating stuff. I like driving down the road and seeing stuff that I built. So I think at some point we fail our country when we fail to acknowledge the value of making awesome things. I'll let you go with that. You guys have a very Merry Christmas. I'm going to work for a little bit longer. Then I'm going to go home, hang out with the family. I think Amy's at the dollar store right now. No, she's at like Goodwill, searching around for her next treasure. The kids are drug along with her. And my boy, my daughter's being a snob, saying I would never wear anything used or use anything used. And my boy, he's searching around looking for some little gem because he's got that creative mind. Yeah, so Merry Christmas.